You spent your life farming, you're working for farmers, did you?
No, I didn't spend my life because when I left Ireland, I left about 18 years of age I was, and I used to work for a farmer in before then, and the farmer I used to get 25 shillings a week, and you work from 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 at night. Now I'm not, that's the gospel truth, that is, and you know, I mean, if you didn't do things right, you got a kick in the backside. You know, I mean, as simple as that, you know, and wherever you work for, it didn't make any difference. You weren't a young fella, you're treated as a young man, you know, a young fella. You're not a young man, young fella.
And you had a better working life over in England, did you?
Oh, much better, yeah. You see, I went from 25 shillings a week to £14.09 a week, so I thought the money was gone in the bushes. I worked in the garage, and I used to serve taxis and stuff like that, you know. And that's why I got them. And I used to get more in tips than what I did in my wages, honest to God. And that's when I first started. I mean, I thought I was getting money on top of the bushes. I thought there was a different world altogether, see. And I bought a bike. I think I had to have it at £14, I think it was, the bike was. And I had to pay 5 shillings down and 2 and 6pence a week. And that's a long time ago, mind you. I mean, you couldn't do it now. I mean, the things we done in those days, you're not allowed to do them today here. You know, I mean, when I was young, I suppose I can tell this, can I? Because we used to have a pig, and we used to wind it up on the pillar of a shed, and cut its throat, make its blood, put it in the bottle and salt it. And that's how we used, because we had no fridges in them days. You see, and that's why we used to have to do things, you know, in those days, you know. So, I mean, there's lots of things that if you say I could remember it, but I mean, I can't remember a lot of things I've done. I mean, with the buckrake, with the hay, I mean, we used to have a buckrake, we used to lift it, and we used to have a row of hay along. And that's when we used to have the twirl wind, I used to call it, like, you know. And, you know, you used to get the hay along, with the long, like that. Every time you went on, and you had a grey horse, and it was very dangerous, like, you know, it was a dangerous thing to do. Like. When I was young, we were very young, with 4 or 5. I mean, we had our own farm, 50 acres of land. It was a big farm in them days. I mean, we had a cow, 2 cows, and a few pigs, and a couple of hens and chickens, and turkeys and things like that. And we had in one of the fields. We used to do it all the time. We used to go to turnips, cabbage, and carrots, parsnips. You had to do it because otherwise you couldn't afford to buy them. And my father, God be good to my father, he used to trap rabbits. I mean, go out, he used to one field to the other. He used to go to each farm and say, can you move your sheep to this I'm trapping this field today, you know. And rabbits were 1 and 3pence for a pair. And I had to ride 5 miles into New Ross to sell them to Murphy's. And I mean, that was, you know, a long time ago. And when I was young and I go to school, I mean, we used to live in a place called Ballylee, and near Ballynabanog and Ballyboola and Drummond, you know, Drummond. Well, what's the name, Powell Bounty. We used to go to, you have the mill there, you see. We used to walk 3 1/4 miles to school and 3 1/4 miles back. Now, and we used to do the same thing at Mass. And when I come back from 8 o'clock Mass, I used to serve Mass in them days. And when you come back from the Mass, you had to change your wellington boots and give them to your sister. Because we couldn't afford to buy one for each one. And there was only 9 of us in the family, like, you know. So, times are hard then. And I mean, when I went to England, I thought it was a little bit different, like, you know. So.
But you told me you remember cutting fields of corn with a scythe.
Exactly, yeah. When you see, the trouble is, when you went with Michael was talking about combined harvesters. There were no combined harvesters in them days. It was just a binder and a couple of horses. And you come in there and you come with the 2 horses and you cut enough room for the horses in the binder so you didn't knock the straw down. And my father, God be good, or the farmer, not my father, the farmer used to go along and pick the heads up. I mean, any loose heads around, you pick them up and put them into a shape because they wouldn't waste them, you see. And you see, it's different, you know. With a combined harvest, we picked everything up, like, you know. But with the combined, with the binder, I mean, it stuck, you know, I did the shares and everything else like that, and used to go to bind the twine and all that time with it. And I mean, if there was any loose heads around, you went and picked them up. You had to pick them up and put them in a heap and tie them together.
And then when would the threshing be?
It could be 2 months after that. It could be even a month. I mean, the trouble is in them days with the threshings, I mean, you get farmers from miles and miles all around to come. There'd be at least 23 people and 2 or 3 crates of stout there for people the ham and cabbage and the bacon and stuff like that on for dinner. And the mum used to get your white cloth and she used to get that and she used to get the paw spuds, just tip back on the white cloth. And when everybody was finished, everybody had their fill, she just gathered the thing up, she threw it out in the yard, and the hens and the chickens and the dogs and everything else it had their fill as well. See? And that's going back a few years, that is. And what's the name is, all the houses that we used to go to had clay floors, and you used to get the chickens inside, turn up so you get any worms. Honest to God. And that's true, that is.
Clay floors.
Yeah, clay floor. No, the most thing is carpets. I mean, you swept the floor, and when you were sweeping the floor, there was dust. There was only dust.
Do you ever see them throwing sand on the clay floors?
Oh yes, on several times. Because you had to, because wherever it was soft, you had to put sand on it. You had to throw sand on it. You know, if you didn't throw the sand on it, I mean, your feet would never would gather up a lot of the clay, like, you know, and then the chicken would come in and tear it up. You know, I mean, there were chicken and dogs that was allowed in the house. I mean, not like it is today, like, but there was, I mean, there is dogs. But I mean, the dog would come in and you'd shout at the dog. If the dog come in, you shout at him. Because to go outside you know. But the hens would go down and scratch it and pick up. And you were there and you were eating your dinner and the hens didn't bother you.
And do you ever remember the hens sitting inside?
Oh yeah, several times, yeah, because you go and clucking. Well, we used to call them clucking hens. And they used to go and we used to build a nest for them and they put all the 12 eggs in there and she'd sit on them 12 eggs for you. And then she'd take about 28 days it was in the chicken, you had the chickens.
And would you leave her sitting inside in the house?
Oh no. As soon as you had the chickens, you threw her outside in the shed.
Well, did you bring out the chickens in the house?
Oh yeah, we brought them over the house, yeah, into this other house. And the old hen was very protective of the chickens. I mean, she'd pick you as well. Like, you know, if you went to go take her one up, she'd pick you and fly at you and things like that. You know, I mean, you don't get these things these days because it doesn't happen. It's different. Everything is different. And you got a bucket of clay and just throw it in there, just so it's just scratching it. You know.
You throw the clay in for the hens?
Yeah, you throw a bucket full of clay in, you go out the field and you get a bucket full or 2 bucketfuls and throw out for the hens to scratch it. The little tick chickens that go around and try and pick. You know, she used to do tuk 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 tuk. Little chicken come flying to her, you know. And the same with the cock would be the same with the hens. See, a cock would go tuk 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 tuk, and the hens would come run down to him and then he'd do his business, like, you know, so. You know, I mean, as times has changed, like, you know, I remember them things all right. And there's lots of other things I remember, but the trouble is how my memory's gone. I'm 84 years of age now, so, you know, so.
And do you remember your father snaring or shooting rabbits?
Yes, I used to go with him, sure, in the morning. I'll tell you a story, you know, this is, you probably will not, it shouldn't be on television or whatever it is, but we're out trapping one morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, we're out trapping. And all I heard was, God, you had this roar. And I said, God. And that was my dad, he wanted to go to the toilet, see, so I said, Sonny, she shouted out, I said, can you get a piece of grass for my backside? So I said, yeah, I said, no problem. So I got a little, two or three dock leaves and a bit of grass, and I put a nettle in the middle of it. Yes, of course, I had to run 3 or 4 fields before he shouted. And that's the gospel truth, that happened. And I tell you, I couldn't see my father for 2 weeks after that. That's the way life was, like, you know.
When you went trapping, did you trap with snares?
Oh yeah, no, traps, not with snares and traps. And I tell you something, this is good. You're not allowed to do it now. See, for a fox's head, you got 5 shillings for a fox's head. You cut his head off. If you catch a fox, you cut his head off, bring it into the Garda station, you give 5 shillings for it. Honest to God, that happened, and that used to be. I mean, he catches about 3 foxes in a month.
You know, that was money for
and
you.
That was money. That was 5 shillings was a lot in them days. It was like £1,000 nearly now today, like, you know.
And tell me this as well, because my own father was the same. Daddy at home said there was no meat years ago. They didn't get any meat. They rarely get a bit of rabbit was the only thing they got.
Yeah, but see, that's what we lived on, rabbits, and spring rabbits, the young rabbits. You know, what you call them, spring rabbits. And we used to live on, and they used to make the soup and everything else. I mean, it was lovely, like, you know. But I mean, it's different today, like, you know. But what I'm saying is, you couldn't afford a meat, you couldn't afford anything. See, that's why we had the pig. When you had the pig, you had to throw up the thing and cut his throat and had you have your black pudding and your white pudding, whatever.
Did
You
you,
know?
did you give out bits then to your neighbours?
Oh yeah, you had to. Yeah, you had to give it a little bit. I mean, if you had a big barrel with it and you filled it up with it, you filled it up with meat, you put a lot of salt, a bag of salt in there on it, and then the neighbours would come down and say, well, we'll have a bit of your meat, like, you know. So, and we used to do that. And then there was the same with the milk, the same with everything else. You shared it. I mean, when the threshing day came, they all turned in the threshing day and they all give you a hand. And the pitchers and the drums and the feeding and everything, and ricks of straw and everything, you know what I mean? It's different.